Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Adelina and I make videos about living in my tiny house on wheels, which is right behind us, right behind you, and living an intentional life. I've also been making videos about converting this 2017 Dodge ProMaster van into a camper van. And I think this is vlog number 6. It's one that I kind of have been putting off editing because it was, it was the hardest thing I've done to date on this camper van, and certainly the most frustrating thing I've done in a very long time. So today's video is about the installation of these Bunk slider windows. So these are sliders from C.R. Lawrence, and they do have a screen that's removable here, and I have one on either side of the bed. So that's what I'm talking about today. I definitely need my coffee for this conversation. So I am just doing a little preamble to the video that I shot over 3 separate days about this window installation. I swear, nothing has kicked my butt more than these windows, and I thought that cutting the hole in the roof for my MaxxAir fan was going to be the difficult thing. Not so much. Definitely these windows. These windows came, I ordered them through a glass shop, and they came in 2 boxes with absolutely 0 instructions. Now, before you say, yes, but they're meant for to be sold to automotive glass shops for professionals to put in, I totally understand that. However, these are probably the most common window in camper vans, self-converted camper vans that you see, and therefore you can't tell me that C.R. Lawrence doesn't know that a good number of these windows that they sell are going to amateurs that are installing them themselves and some are going to absolute amateurs. So they came with 0 instructions. But if you know anything about me, you know that I research things. And so I had watched a lot of videos online about installing windows, and I knew to be careful. I knew to measure and be very, very, very careful about cutting the hole in the van. The windows that I got, I saw multiple videos of people installing them. They were all tracing the same part of the window in order to cut, to trace out the hole that they were going to cut for the window. So I was careful, did do my research. When I looked on the C.R. Lawrence website, I couldn't find any instructions, any template. It would have been so nice if they had just included a paper template in the box, the cut opening dimensions on a piece of paper in the box. It wasn't until after I had cut my opening and was freaking out because I was having trouble installing them, that I found a note on the website that said cut opening would be 33 by 10. What happened was I ended up with a hole, 2 holes actually, that were 33 1/4 by 10 1/4, which means that they were 1/8 of an inch all round too big, or bigger than the recommended cut size, opening size that I eventually found on their website, which shouldn't have been a problem. It's only 1/8 of an inch all the way around, right? But it turned out to be a big problem for me because you don't actually drill through the screws through the metal of the van. You fit the outside, the window in from the outside, and then there's this little bracket flange thing that goes from the inside over it, and it's a compression fit, and so it compresses all the way around this opening. But the problem is, even if I had cut it 33 by 10, I still would have had an issue installing this thing, because how do you, no matter who's on the other side, holding it? How do they hold it centered enough in an opening so that you can then put some screws in and get it centered so that you've grabbed enough, the same amount on all four sides? I don't understand it. I did post this question on a ProMaster Forum website on Facebook, and one fellow said, well, it's a compression fit. I had already figured that out, but you just have to center it. It could be useful to use spacers on the bottom until to make sure you have it centered. I didn't know to do that. I don't know what spacers you would put there. It was very stressful. That's all I can say. So day one, I cut the openings. And then when we tried to fit the window in to attach the flange to secure them, that opening just seemed so much bigger than it should be. Like, I was really panicked and really frustrated and embarrassed, because I'm always so careful, and I could not figure out how I had gone so wrong. I watched the video, especially the one that I had based my template off of, but I had seen others where they had traced the exact same spot as she did again. And then I noticed that when she was installing her window and her brother was on the outside holding the window in, even she, in the video, you can hear her go, wait, that doesn't look right. And then it comes back and she's like, yeah, I think we can make that work. So obviously I'm not the only one who's done this and realized this doesn't seem to be very intuitive, and it seems to be a very weird way to cut a hole, and then have this window sort of float in this opening until you can screw enough to hold it, which is basically what you have to do. So that was day one. I decided I could not deal with this. I was really stressed out. I was upset, frustrated. So I had to just walk away. So we taped up the windows. It was going to rain the next day, so we taped up the windows really well with plastic, and then I put a tarp over the whole van and bungeed that down, so no matter what, no water was going to go in. Saturday night, I did not sleep almost at all. Sunday morning, I woke up thinking, there's just no way I got it that wrong. Like, how could I get it that wrong? I mean, once you've cut a hole, you can't make it smaller, right? You can't make a hole smaller. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to order bigger windows. The next size window was like a 40 by 15. That's much bigger than I wanted back here. I didn't want to spend that money to buy new windows and then hopefully sell these. So Sunday night, I was really upset as well. Still really kicking myself. How did I go so wrong? My father-in-law, Garth, he's just the most amazing man in the world. Absolutely. The smartest man I know, by far, and probably will ever know. And he's got this expression that I have used before on this channel. He says, I was thinking whilst I was sleeping. Well, that's exactly what happened. As I was laying there, sort of coming awake on Monday morning, I thought to myself, no, I can probably still make that work. If I can just hold it centered enough and I can screw enough screws in, I can make this work, because I was only 1/8 of an inch off all around. So that shouldn't be a deal breaker. We got it in. Like, there was a lot of having to unscrew it again and get them to lift up the one corner. And, because the fact is, when somebody's holding something, they invariably shift, especially if you're screwing into it and it's moving. So it took a long time to get both windows in, but we managed to get them in because there was enough compression all the way around for them to be in. That was Monday night. But all night I was thinking, yeah, they might be in, and even if they're watertight, for now, that's good. But what are the chances that they're going to shift with this van going down the road, especially bumpy roads, things like that, over time? So by Tuesday morning, I realized I wasn't comfortable with that. So I talked to my father-in-law, Garth, and said, what can I do? I need some way to hold this window up, like get it centered at least vertically enough so that we can hold it horizontally and I can screw in. He recommended this plastic trim. It actually, I think, also comes in like a metal, that's sold in the automotive department of stores like Canadian Tire here in Canada. And it's used to trim around doors and things like that, so that they don't get dinged, and I guess it's decorative. It's a flexible plastic, almost like a gasket, I guess, and it's U-shaped, and it would fit over the metal. And he said, you know, that might work. And I thought, yeah, that's brilliant. So I checked online, Canadian Tire had it. I went and picked some up, had my other kid come over that evening, Tuesday. And then the final video that you're going to see is us installing that gasket around the metal of the van, and then us fitting the window in. The window fit in perfectly that way. And I also switched out the Phillips screws for Robinson screws, because Phillips screws drive me crazy. They're the ones that are X shape, and they're always slipping, and it's so frustrating. So Robinson's, it's the one that's got a little square cut in it, and it's actually created by a Canadian. So it's our claim to fame in the screw world, which sounds dirty, but it's not. Anyway, so I switched out the screws for Robinson screws because I knew I could get a much better grip, and I wasn't going to have to worry about stripping the screws. So you'll see that the screws here are silver. I am going to grab some black enamel paint and just touch those up to make them black, but really I don't care. The flange on the inside here, because of that extra thickness of that trim, doesn't meet perfectly at the bottom of the window on the inside. I don't care about that either. But they're watertight, and that's what matters. So, because on Tuesday morning, when I had come out after Jamie and I had managed to get them in on Monday night, and I came out early in the morning before work and water tested them, got the hose out and just poured water on it. That one was airtight, watertight. This one wasn't. There was a little leak in this one. So I already knew it wasn't going to work. I wasn't happy with just hoping for the best, but that sort of solidified it. So we did test watertight. Yes, absolutely. And the windows work really well. Last week we had a couple of days of really heavy rain, storms, winds and heavy rain. And when I came out after, everything was watertight. So here is the video, the 3 videos of the 3 separate days that I worked on these 2 damn windows. And I remember saying afterwards, I will never install another window again as long as I live. That's not going to fly. Of course I'm going to install another window at some point. I can't be that pathetic. However, here is the advice I give everyone now is, trace your template on your cardboard or foam core or whatever, and then cut it out of that cardboard, and then fit your window into the hole of the cardboard that you've just made. Because if I had done that, I would have realized that opening was way too big. Even at 33 by 10, it was too big, and I would have made it smaller. I would have played with it until I got it exactly the way I wanted it. That is hindsight. It's the advice that I give you. You're welcome. You don't have to go through the sleepless nights and the frustration and, yes, tears that came with installing these 2 bunk windows. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the other end. So I ordered 2 universal sliders. So they are basically meant to go on any brand of vehicle. You can order L or R for left or right. When they come, this little inside mounting bracket is actually screwed on. You will have to unscrew those in order to get this bracket off, and we need this bracket off because this is what goes on the inside of the van, and the window obviously gets fit from the outside in. And we need this to do our template. What else are you going to need? Well, you're going to need a plastic drop sheet, and I'll show you what that's for later. A drill to drill the pilot holes, a screwdriver of some sort to screw the screws in, a jigsaw with a fresh metal blade, measuring tape, Sharpie, X-Acto knife, some masking tape, safety glasses, very important, some rust paint because once we cut that and we filed it down, we're going to want to touch it up, some safety gloves, the screws that come with. You'll also need a metal file to file down the edge after you've cut the hole, and don't forget coffee. So the first thing you need to do is make a template. I have cut the side out of one of the boxes that the windows came in. This fits over the window. The window will come in from the outside, and this will fit over top. When we're actually cutting it, we're going to cut to the inside of our line. All right, so we have our template, and I'm going to carefully cut this with the X-Acto knife, straight edge, and I'm going to cut on the inside of this line. So what we're going to do is go into the inside of the van, and I'm going to tape this up and measure and decide where I want it. Then I'm going to pre-drill through the template and through the side of the van. Then when I go outside, I'm going to flip it over so the piece that was facing me when I was inside is now facing the van. And I'm going to line up those two screws, tape it, make sure it's exactly right, just measure before I then trace around it. So to make life simple, I'm going to just write on here inside and outside. That way I don't forget, because I just want to be sure that I have it exactly where I want it. I put the kill mat on this panel, and that was before I even thought about windows. So that means I'm going to have to be cutting through the kill mat, because the window is going to go here. Once I've traced out my window, I am going to score the kill mat on that line to try and make it easier for the jigsaw to get through it, because I know it's going to gum it up. I'm sure I'm not the first person who's done this. I wish that I had seen or read somewhere in all of the videos and blogs that I read about this, but I didn't, and I should have thought of it, but I didn't, because I'm brand new. All right, so I've traced around it, and now I'm going to drill 2 pilot holes. I'm nervous. The next thing I'm going to do is something that I really recommend that everybody do. Tarp off so that the shavings from cutting the window don't settle into any of the crevices and nooks and crannies of the van, and then potentially get wet and rust. So now I'm going to stand back and see what I think of that. I'm going to tape around all of that, and I'm also going to tape over this and the plastic molding down here, because again, the last thing I want is any metal shavings falling into here and then potentially rusting. Starting my pilot holes with a small drill bit, and now I'm going to switch to a bigger one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut around, but I'm going to leave a little bit on each corner. And then once I get everything cut except for those bits, I'm going to tape everything, and then I'm going to cut those in an effort to try and keep it from flapping around as I'm cutting all the way around it. Again, I saw this on another video, and it seemed like a brilliant idea to me, so that's what I'm going to do. I think my little cheapy jigsaw is not going to work for me. right, it fits. That's good news. So now I'm going to remove that tape, clean up the edge, file it down a little bit, and then touch up the edge with the rust-proof paint. Okay. So I'm going to hand you the window. In front of the camera.
Sorry.
Did you not take Comtech in school?
Yeah, but I didn't film anything. But you see what I see, don't you?
What's that?
That corner.
What corner?
That one.
The sunlight shining through?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you point that out? Okay, so that corner needs to go up.
Yes.
Is there sunlight shining through under here? No. Okay. No, I didn't see that. Right. Okay. This got it. Okay, let's just see about getting this on there. Will it go on? Will I have to cut more of this off?
I don't think you want to remove. Oh, if it won't stick on, we can try and set it down.
It's got to go between here, right?
Yeah.
It sandwiches. That's what it needs to do, right? And it will give us enough to center that window enough to get it wedged on. So I'm concerned about this.
Yeah.
About it getting on there. So.
That almost just exact. Oh man, that almost just exactly when I thought of.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, make sure the words are pointing up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is the right way around.
That's the right way around. What a difference that makes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, looks good. That looks good. That is snug as a bug in a rug. Oh my God, that was such a mom thing to say.
Yeah, it was. It's like saying garbage instead of garbage. It's a very mom thing.
Very mom. All right, let's do the other side. This is what we're using as a little gasket around that window so that we can get it snug. I bought it from Canadian. That's what's going to go around the edge of the window with the metal sandwich in between. good to me. I think we're finally done the window installation. What a learning experience. If I never install another window, that will be just fine with me. But yeah, but it's done. I'm gonna have to paint those Robinson screws, these ones black. Unfortunately, they don't make them in black, not where I could find them, but it'll be worth painting them. So I'll see you in a bit. That was a long video. I'm sorry for the length, but it kind of had to all be shown because it was really important that you see what I did wrong, and then how we fixed it. And, you know, just so you don't make the same mistake I did. And like, again, to be honest, I think that even if I had cut that opening at their 33 by 10, which is what I eventually found on the C.R. Lawrence website for the cut dimensions, it still would have been too big of a hole for it to be easily installed. So again, my piece of advice to you is when you're installing a window, trace your template out on your cardboard, then fit your window into the hole you've just cut in your cardboard to make sure that that is the right opening size, and make your adjustments there, and then take that template and draw it onto your van. Whew. Next week, we are not going to be talking vans. I'm going to continue the discussion that I started back when I did my video a few weeks ago about 2 years in my tiny house, and I gave you 5 or 6 things that were working really well that I loved, and I promised you the rest of that list, because there's a lot more than that I really love about my tiny house. And so next week we're going to do something a little lighter, a little less work. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and to check out my other channel, A Little Bit About a Lot of Things. I will link that down below, where I do some really yummy recipes, if I do say so myself, and just talk about things that aren't necessarily tiny living related. I will talk to you guys next week.